6 years ago, at the summit in Amsterdam, I announced that in 2017 there has been not one single accident of 30 million flights that took place that year. I also announced that even with this great statistic, due to the massive increase of flights that are expected, by 2037 we will have one deadly accident a week in commercial aviation. This statistic is still standing. But today, in this uncertain and constantly negative reporting world, I'd like to bring you a positive message, because I prefer to see a glass of Guinness rather full than half empty. What you see here is pure magic. 5,000 times each hour, an aircraft weighing hundreds of tons, taking hundreds of lives on board, lands safely somewhere around the globe. Yes, there are still accidents. In 2024, 296 people lost their lives in 10 fatal accidents. But this represents only 0.00005%, as Alberto Contador would say. More important is that for every single aviation accident, 157,000 successful human interventions took place. Yes, 157,000 times someone noticed, adapted, corrected, and saved the day without anyone even hearing about it. Each second, somebody interprets context, acts through knowledge where manuals fall short, and keeps operations alive by performing the right actions. And these 157,000 moments are not luck. So let's stop focusing on human error and start focusing on human brilliance. If this ratio is achievable in aviation, imagine what the hidden ratio would be in your business. How many silent saves happen every day without a line in a report or a thank you relief? What if, instead of emphasizing what went wrong, we identify and amplify those 150,000 interventions? Every CEO I meet has only two real problems: too much or too little, too much work or too little work, too many people or too few people. Too few and you are desperate to hire, too many and legacy behavior grows. 10 days ago I was among the leaders of the nuclear industry and their subcontractors. And this industry, like the aviation industry, requires highly specialized people who, due to the slow recovery of the market, have been underutilized for years. And now, with the ramp up of that sector, these workers, they feel quickly overwhelmed, although they are not even operating at half of their capacity. The aircraft manufacturing industry has a backlog of 16,730 aircraft. They will need about 14 years to clear the logjam of outstanding orders. But the danger isn't volume, it's variability. When everybody does things differently, success depends on luck. So, if we could standardize what is done well, we'd stop living between firefighting and fatigue. In aviation, when the system grows, they don't add bureaucracy, they add standardization. Standardization in airline operations means the use of standard operating procedures. These are detailed written steps used by every crew member for all phases of the flight. It's not the manual of the aircraft, it's not the rules of the regulator, but it is the work of the crew members who collect and interpret all that information, and they join it into a document that explains how we do things here in our airline. Of course, we reference to the manuals at hand, but it goes much more into detail. The purpose is not to leave important things unsaid and to avoid doubt and misunderstanding. Because you don't want a pilot saying, I thought you were flying the plane. It outlines everything from normal procedures like when do we put the fasten seatbelt sign on before descent, till what do we do in abnormal cases. Again, it does not explain what this warning light means when it comes on and what should we do. That you can read in the manufacturing handbook, but it lays out every single step of how things are done beyond these actions. I'll share how we apply those standard operating procedures, or SOPs, with a real-life example. Here you see the crew just landed in emergency because their left engine is on fire. They put on the parking brake. They perform the necessary actions that they learned by heart and are repeated 4 times a year in a simulator. Then they take the checklist to verify that actually the parking brake is set, because yes, it happened before that an evacuation was ordered without the parking brake set, and then the aircraft started rolling while the passengers were jumping down the slides. So it's important that the parking brake is actually set. Then they order evacuate, evacuate, evacuate through the public address in a calm and confident way. The first officer now leaves the flight deck after he puts on his full uniform, while he leaves through the first door to help passengers go away from the aircraft on the ground. And as you can see on this SOP, the captain will re-verify that the ground traffic control got the emergency message right and that the firefighting brigade is coming. Then he will take a torch, will also put his complete uniform to be recognizable. He will leave the cockpit door to check each and every row of the entire aircraft till the very end and assist every immobilized or remaining passenger before exiting himself through the aft door of the aircraft as last. Through continuous training and the use of SOPs, even when under stress, everyone behaves in a predictable, standardized way. If you fly back tomorrow, have a look at the crew. Chances are that none of these people in uniform have met each other before they greet you at the door. And yet, they will work better together than your most experienced team. That is what SOPs do. They transform experience into predictability, and they keep quality consistent. Because when teams rotate or grow, SOPs make entering workers effective from day one. Don't be mistaken, SOPs are written by the people in the field. It is the motivated cabin crew and the pilots sitting together who do this continuous work, together with the operational management, like the director of flight operations and the head of cabin crew. They are all pilots or cabin crew members themselves. As a matter of fact, the entire management of flight operations consists of pilots and cabin crew who work besides their flying job, partially on the creation and update of those procedures as well as on continuous training. Don't let people who never steered an SPMT or never operated a crane write what should be done and how. Get them working on your SOPs, because the most valuable consultants are already on your payroll. Your operators know what works and what doesn't. Attracting and keeping the right people is one thing, but they need to be continuously infused by the right culture. Safety culture, the industry's favorite buzzword nowadays. What does it actually mean? Safety is a word that we're sick of hearing. So many years nagging about systems, satisfying the customer with the process, documents, the safety coordinator on site, the HSC officers in place. Really, everything is in place nowadays, isn't it? What do you want more? I hear you think. Well, honestly, to me, all of this feels a lot like one big safety show. Reports, signatures, KPIs written and monitored by people who have never actually done the job. We've come a long way, but it seems that we are happy with managing the tip of the iceberg. As long as we don't end up in the news, and there are no visible wrinkles to the outside world, we have it under control, don't we? Or are we throwing antibiotics to viruses? We still treat symptoms instead of causes. We don't need more signatures, sign-offs, and filled out checklists. Speaking about checklists, for one flight, we perform 18 checklists. One pre-flight, one before start, before taxi, before takeoff, after takeoff, descent, before landing, after landing, and then the shutdown checklists. And often we do 2 flights a day. That makes it 36 checklists we execute in one day, or 160,000 checklists in a career. And not ever did I sign one. Never have I ticked one box to prove that I followed the procedure. Because checklists only contain the crucial points on the procedure, and they are confirmed verbally. We do those checklists because we know they will keep us safe, not because we need to show that they have been done. Awareness is key, because real safety is not written in manuals, it is lived in moments. And as soon as each operator knows that he or she is the only risk, safety will become awareness and not bureaucracy. We already helped the nuclear industry to learn how to peel off unnecessary layers of paper without removing safety. And in the next decade, the strongest companies will operate like lean airlines. They will have standard operating driven teams, and safety will not be a policy but an instinct. Procedures will be used and written by the doers. I could go on for hours with aviation examples and insights, but you can all find them here, and let me resume instead. I saw it work in aviation, and I know it will work in your business. Thank you.
Questions? No questions?
Yeah.
Thank you. Anastasia from Slovenian Stadium. I know you explained aviation focus a lot, but also you made application to heavy lifting. I'm curious if you see how AI can help in the safety procedures, because to give you an example, what we work on is disaster prevention based on IoT data, or malfunction recognition based on picture and text. Something like this already flying there, or anything else?
I think today the main issue, and Wim already said it, is the awareness of the people. And if there's something that AI will have difficulty in managing, it's awareness of the people. So for that part, I would say no. There are some people thinking that AI will help them by creating their risk analysis, which would be the biggest mistake, because of course you will get the documents and you can have 55 more pages of crap that will be read by no one, or if they are read, it will be seen that it's from another project or is not applicable to this one. But the real idea behind it is that the guy who will be sitting in the crane knows that for this particular job he must pay attention to the wind because we have such a big sailing area that otherwise he will be in trouble. So it's the core of our business is the human, and AI will not replace that. So it's a good, I think it's a good message because that makes it that the job will not be replaced by anything else. But of course, also like Wednesday, we can of course use a lot of tools around AI to assist us. Like for example, they already do in aviation as well, the predictive maintenance or discover trends. They can do that, AI can do that much quicker than humans can. But to the problem where at the basis of an incident lies a human, AI won't change that.
I just wanted to comment, it's not our goal to replace a human, even if it would save costs drastically. It's obviously to help a human to have a quicker indication, because you can analyze past data behavior and give signs earlier, because what we see in disaster prevention, for example, sometimes when humans notice things go wrong, maybe a little later, then the system could have given him the sign, leaving less time to actually fix the issue. That was an idea, for example.
I'm convinced that this will be of great help, and they're also working in the cockpit to create even more systems to bring awareness faster.
Yes.
That's for sure. Where I don't like it a lot is that when we will use it to supervise and control and then hit the person on the back by saying my AI saw you didn't put on a helmet. Then we still have a lot of work on culture.
Yes, but we work on co-pilots, not pilots, the one who help, rather than lead the system.
Yeah. Every tool is useful, of course.
Just quickly, I thought about these standard operating procedures, SOPs, and you say the teams often have never worked together before. But is there anything in there that's to get to know the other people in the team? Is that an important thing? Would there be an SOP for find out something about them too?
Yes, there is actually. At the beginning of a flight, we meet, because we all have to take the documents and see where the flight would be going. And there is a very important good morning, how are you question. And not the how are you, fine yourself, but the really how are you. Because what you must know is that there are like 3 pilots if we take a long haul flight, and there are like 6 cabin crews, so there are 9 people gone for 14 hours. And I had it myself one morning at 3 o'clock. I was sitting, and then the cabin crew came in. I said, how are you? And one said, okay, fine. And then the other one said, not so well. And I said, oh, what's wrong? And he said, yeah, yesterday evening we got the message that my wife has cancer, and we have 3 kids, and I don't know what the future will bring. And I looked at him and I said, you're not flying with me. And it was really complicated to find somebody, and we had 2 hours of delay, because at 3 o'clock in the morning find somebody ready to hop in the plane for 14 hours going to Mexico. But it was all about safety, because that guy is not there just to serve us coffee and tea. These people are trained to evacuate 276 people in less than 90 seconds. So how can they possibly do that if you have such a thing on your mind? And so the morning coffee and the how are you is like a small introduction, but it's life-saving. And it's something that you can implement very quickly as well. I think in every container on site in the morning, it's the first thing I ask to the crane operator, how did you sleep? Because that's the guy eventually who will pick it up, and who, if he didn't sleep well, is able to hit his colleague next to him with the cargo. So it's very important. But that doesn't mean that you need to have a team that is working constantly together, because that can even be dangerous. Because you think, oh yeah, but he's always doing that, like, and now we'll check this and he will do that, and they often are very reluctant in the airline industry to stick to the same teams, because of course I like to fly with a co-pilot, which we take drinks and then hire a car and go see Chichen Itza. But that's not good for safety, because we start relying on one another. So they deliberately do not create teams to make sure that everybody just sticks to the procedures. But they are very operational.
I think it's a lot of food for thought there. Thank you very much, Blanca.